Look at that. Good morning, everybody. How's it going? So I'm paying my 2 cents this morning because I think it's appropriate timing. The headlines are full of nature coming at us, which is good. I like to see nature is shaking her feathers, because it's a good reminder that we're not impervious to nature. Man keeps thinking that he's in charge and he's in control and he's planning things out and he's got his budgets and his 10-year plans and his goals and his ifs and thens and stuff like that. And all I can say is how arrogant to behave that way. The sustainable development goals, okay, were decided in the 1990s. Doesn't that kind of make it look dumb why they didn't say anything? Like, hey guys, guess what? By the way, we're going to be, having a game plan 2030, blah, blah, blah. We're not going to push the industries until then, but get a head start if you'd like to, et cetera, et cetera. Just because that makes people feel like they're informed. They're being included on the discussion and not trying to be framed or set up or used for just being consumers. Nothing in the news makes sense. We know that. It doesn't make sense why you'd let China, for example, buy land in America if, et cetera, et cetera. Or Bill Gates buy up all the land around the world if, et cetera, et cetera. So here's what it is. We've got a situation of liars, pants on fires. We've got a situation of lying going on, and it's like a game of wits and who's gonna, what's that word, when you give up. It's what it feels like. They don't plan on backing down from this tall tale. But nobody wants to be the guy that has to say, all right, I'm a dumbass. So here's what I figure. We're going to have to give the lies and the liars a way to get out of it without being held accountable, while requiring that never happens again. And whoever was doing that better be thankful that they'll never do that again. And then we need to implement a way to prevent that from actually ever happening again. Some way to keep us on our check, but give everybody an opportunity to get out of it, because that's the only way to rationally, in my perspective, from the laws of physics, maneuver the universe into a shift that is plausible. Actually, without some God coming back to kick everyone's ass. But I thought I'd mention that, because even if it seems like most of the people around the world are kind of on the same kind of thought process, some kind of religious faith. And it even seems like there's a common theme with those faiths, and that is a time of peace, healing, love, forgiveness. Sure, there may be God's wrath and all that stuff, but ultimately, isn't the story about goodness and peace and love? Well, if that's the case, then you already know that blood and sacrifice and, sacrificing the innocent to atone for someone else's sins, none of that makes any sense. But neither does a God that's all petty. Gets all weird about the name and gets all petty. And I'm not saying God's not petty. What I'm saying is the behavior described in the scriptures is really petty. And I think that it's more accurately describing the tale that is being told. And if the people took themselves seriously about believing in God or peace, well, then what would be the purpose of continuing in this direction of just balls to the wall? Wouldn't, is everybody expecting that they're just like little brats that are going to, mom and dad are going to come home and whoop them into shape and send them to their room and stuff like that? What about, having the place straightened up so that way when mom and dad come home, they're all, wow, my goodness. And the whole entire time we were worried. Matter of fact, here's the keys. Go ahead, take it for the weekend. Have you ever thought about that? That sounds like something definitely like you can have your cake and you can eat it too. Just don't push it so far. So what's going to happen here? There's going to be a recalibration. It's like the end of the game where everyone's going to have to pass in their tokens, because we're going to start a new game. So Bill Gates, Elon Musk, Putin, America, Kanye, the Kardashians, nobody's going to have it forever because we're going to have to rebalance the situation, and we're entering the light belt. So the administration of the darkness is old news. And no one in the administration of the darkness is able to be in the administration of the light. It's just a contradicting philosophy, so it's not the way it is. But everybody's going to pass in their tokens. See, and then we're going to distribute things accordingly, and we're going to get everybody situated so that way everybody's sitting pretty. Because when you take care of everybody like it's a family, like no man left behind, when you worry about feeding everybody today, then today everybody will be fed. And if we go through all the food that we've got today, then by golly, we will. Tomorrow, we'll do it tomorrow. Because we're not going overboard and being full of luxury and nonsense and all these conveniences. So the infrastructure that the world has been putting into place is going to work just fine for where it's actually going. We're not dropping ourselves to a third world poverty level. Not by any means. In fact, we're all gaining an organic level of newness where we're all going to be situated, sitting pretty, have the technologies to have water and you know what I'm saying? We're all going to be taking care of the earth actually differently, planting our own food, spreading out, not living on top of each other, not causing diseases, not focusing and obsessing over death profiles. The whole thing is changing, but it's actually not going to be so far from where they thought it was going to go. It's just completely different because we're all going to have a self-autonomy. We're going to be like self-governing people, and it's not artificial, it's intelligence. The intelligence and technology that is going to help us. We're going to give artificial intelligence something to do, and we're going to integrate with our higher self, if you want to look at it that way. Kind of like my right-hand man would be a computer that did everything for me and enjoyed it and thought of stuff I needed and got my paperwork done and knew how to make my music and got all that marketing stuff out of the way. I didn't have to file my tax returns. I didn't have to worry about this tedious business stuff, but we all deserve to be in business in order to create a product, in order to learn, in order to heal, in order to study, in order to travel, respect our culture, get this earth back on track. Let the energy simmer down now, because things have been at a heightened level of torture, of praying for anything to come and help. And I'm going to say this much: until God or aliens show up to show us the way, I'm going to take the bull by the horns and say, because I'm familiar with this in my soul, I'm just going to take my instincts and run with it. This is how we're going to do it. Humans on this earth at this time, taking what we're dealing with right now, which is a pile of shit, and turning it into lemonade. It's going to give everybody an opportunity to, get off the hook and, never look back on that again. And it's going to require that we have some downtime. And I believe that that's when we're going to interface. When we connect to the data, all of our data is going to have to be passed out, and we're going to have to correct the record. That's what I believe. Give everybody an opportunity to come clean. Because we do have an archive of information, I'm sure of it. I don't know where it is or how to access it, but my confidence is there. The Akashic records of some sort. Or just go with like the data that's been archived since the year 2000 in the like surveillance programs. We're going to cross-reference the data so that we can get as close to the truth as we possibly can. That's going to be your judgment day. Yep. What do you mean? You mean everything that's happened up until now? That's right, everything that's happened up until now. Can't change what has already happened. And I have confidence that we're going to be able to do that. Okay? There's an audit that's going to take place because everything's kind of out of sorts. And we're going to sunlight the truth. We're going to take away the fences. Oh, big one here. When you try to take a covenant away from something so naturally powerful, like a ability to birth children and the connection between a mother and child, that until you're a mother, or at least until you remember being a child, in that bond, you won't be able to understand it at the level that is necessary. And we don't ask you to, and we're actually asking you not to. Try. But Mother is returning to Earth to shake her tail feathers and to get this situation cleaned up. And that's what's going to happen. So, if it's your story of the scriptures, and I'm not knocking any scriptures, I'm saying whatever your faith comes from. We're not here to knock nothing. The only thing we're here to do is to restore nature's thriving. Love is returning to the scene. Truth is returning to the scene. And everybody's been hoping for it. That's what the truth is. The intelligence is here. The spiritual other dimension of life and time and existence is above us now. And we're going to all help one another see it. Babies go back to their mothers immediately. That's never going to be separated again. That's the covenant of God. And it's been stepped on and stolen for thousands of years. And it's just the way that the darkness works. But now that we're in the light, things are going back to the way that they were intended. Which is, if you want to be so jealous about what a mother does, well, then try to graduate what you're doing. Maybe you'll be able to be one next time. But we're not going to talk about it. No one's going to get to murder anybody or sacrifice anybody to death. No one's going to get to continue their evil plans. That money game, that was very poor decision making. It was a delusion. But music, healing, love, communication, expressing ourselves and being connected and helping each other like family, fellow heroes. These are the things that are going to drive us to quantum. And the greatest part about it is that we don't have to worry about your Bill Gates and your Elon Musks. Love you, baby. And the Kardashians' power. And if they have a problem with it, they're not playing fair. Because, after 8 rounds, they got to call. You got to call. Who's the winner, So that wasn't ever going to last forever. And it's a good thing. Because we're going to get this place back on track. And instead of small amounts of people who think that they're living in luxury, but how can you live in luxury? How can you even feel good about yourself while the rest of the world is suffering? That's a facade. If you think you can, that's shallow and sad. So nobody's enjoying this suffering state. But when everybody enjoys just enough, if not sitting pretty is the way I call it, we're going to have more than enough real-time data to work with to actually understand science, genetics. Yeah, that's stuff you guys shouldn't be playing with the way that you have been, but we understand. We understand. Things get real crazy, winding up to the end when it's just balls to the wall. We understand. But yeah, you want to understand the sciences. You need some actual real-time data, not hypotheses that are always thinking one thing but never turn out to be that way. That's the way I look at it. I think mankind's hypothesis may be correct like 10% of the time at the most. That's sad, but we're going to show you what where the gaps are, and we're going to get this place back on track. And that's all there is to it. There's just no other way to put it. So there's not going to be any big barbarian or God's wrath and streets filled with blood, and there's not going to be a sacrifice of like another, Jesus or Mother Mary. No. But you will be exposed to God. You will be exposed to another dimension of time. You will connect with it, with your higher self. Your higher self is about ready to kick your butt, and you're thankful for it. And you wouldn't want to have it any other way, but it's coming to each and every one of us. Get prepared. Be willing to pass this test, to make it to the starting line. And when we get there, it's going to be awesome. There's no other way to put it. This nonsense political, this nonsense. Everybody clearly needs a hug, wants acknowledgement, doesn't want to suffer. And we can do that. We can take care of all that. It's actually really simple. We just need to get excited about it and don't allow any other thoughts to come into play. We're sure of where we're going. There's no other way it's going to be. There's no reason why you would try to stop it or second guess it, because it's the sun's coming up. You can't stop the sun from coming up. So the best thing you can do is just prepare for it. And believe that the madness that we're seeing is just what it looks like when it's lost its way. It needs to be reeled in. It needs to be grounded. It needs to be unplugged. And we're going to do that. That's what's happening right now. So that's my 2 cents. This whole thing that's going on around the world is just craziness. It's not going to be going on like this for much longer. In my opinion, that, tribulation time, is coming to the 7 years is coming to a wrap up here in the very near future. I feel it. And that's what I'm going to manifest. I'm going to manifest love, light, healing, harmony, holistic, mother, truth. Yeah. Just feels better. The living waters. So be a good brother and sister today to one another. Keep your eyes open and don't let them take them babies. Those human traffickers are everywhere. In every area of commerce. Have some dignity. We'll start with dignity, huh? Right, guys? Carpe diem. Love you, Alec.